What the hell? Oh my god!
2 hours later.
Well, that was dreadful. Oh well, at least nothing imprinted on me. God damn it. Okay, so after watching King's Tide, I had to go on a very long walk to try and figure out a way to process the emotion of happiness again after that episode destroyed me.
Hey, Mom. I'm back.
While on this walk, I accidentally stumbled upon a portal to anime hell. It was not fun down there. It really wasn't. Luckily, I managed to come out mostly unscathed, but hey, I actually did find a few animes that I like. So I'm just gonna happen to talk about this one. And the one that I've chosen to talk about today is Magical DoReMi. I go from one witch show to another. You'd think I have an obsession. Okay, so, fun fact, I have zero history with this show. In fact, I knew nothing about it until I accidentally discovered it on Twitter. You know, like normal people do. I gave it a watch, and I really liked it. So that's what's on the bill for today. For this episode, I'm going to try and do something a little different. I'm actually going to talk about the first 3 episodes in one video, because I think they'll kind of play off each other pretty well. So, yeah. Also, much like the Sailor Moon review I did a while back, I'm going by the English dub, so I'll be using the English names. I cannot what others say. Alright, let's get into Magical DoReMi. So the first thing I want to talk about is the intro.
I got a secret I can't tell. Guess I better cast my spell. Don't you worry, just you wait. Everything's gonna be great.
It's good. I love this intro. And I don't fully know why. Maybe because I think it's very catchy, maybe because I like the beat and instrumentation of it. I don't know, but every single time I hear this intro, I go,
Like magic, watch and see. Magical DoReMi, like magic. 1, 2, 3, just like magic. You and me.
like that. It's just really good. And it perfectly sets the tone for this show. Did anyone else notice that out of all the videos I've made so far, I've only talked about the intro and the anime videos? Anyways, moving on. So our story begins in Whateversville.
Port Mystic.
Yeah, that place. As we meet our main character, Dory. This girl with spinel-looking hair, who is your average girl in these types of animes. You know, loves food, is boy crazy, and a complete idiot. And also happens to have a smart aleck younger sibling who could use a good walloping.
Now go!
On a side note, I love this show's animation style. It looks so unique compared to other animes I've seen so far. And the way the characters move, especially when it comes to the comedy, it's fascinating. So basically the first few minutes of the episode is just establishing what I just explained, but it also establishes Dory's best friend, Rayanne. Wait, let me try this again. Her best friend, Ray, and...
Get it? Get it?
Thank you, I'll be here all week. And it also establishes Dory's obsession with witches and magic.
How to be a real witch. First of all, you have to have the pointy hat and never practice yourself.
After humiliating herself in front of her class, she ends up getting sent down to the principal's office.
Yeah, she goes there every day. Watch it, you, or you'll get... Yeah, what am I gonna get?
That voice. That sounds familiar. Hang on a second, let me just look up who dubbed this. Of course it was them. And then after school, she ends up wandering for a bit and ends up taking a wrong turn at Albuquerque, and she ends up at a magic shop. You know, what every town has. And it's here where Dory meets Patina, the best character in the show. Patina is such a mood throughout this series, because you see, Dory accidentally cursed her into becoming a green slime because she called her a witch to her face. Yeah, I don't really remember that being in the fine print either. Now, what makes this even worse is that the only one who can undo the curse is the one who caused it in the first place. So Patina is stuck having to try and teach this girl whose IQ is the room temperature of Alaska on how to become a witch, and constantly having to get her out of trouble. Between the way she talks and the cynicism she brings to basically everything, especially playing off of Dory's aggressive optimism, it's just a joy to watch her. We also meet her fairy Lorelei, who I can only describe as an instigator. So anyways, the next few minutes of the episode kind of just meander as they just show us all the whole setting up of everything. But because this is an anime, we do get a fancy transformation sequence. In fact, we get one for all the things she can do.
Enter it again.
And then, when other characters start showing up as witchlings, then we get transformation sequences for them and all their tasks. They're very well animated and I do like them, so I'm not saying this is the show padding out the runtime, but I'm saying this is the show padding out the runtime. One thing I do like about the transformations though, is that they're in-universe. Yeah, Dory actually messes up her transformation for the first time because she can't get her costume on in time. I don't know, that's just funny to me. So anyways, we learned that Dory isn't good at casting spells, because of course she isn't, and we also see that she isn't good at riding a broom, because of course she isn't. But hey, at least we get a fun song. Oh no, I love it too, okay? Dory hits a soccer game that has the boy that she isn't gonna get with, and her, not knowing how sports works, ends up messing with the space-time continuum that leads to her getting hurt. Somehow, no one in the field or audience saw her wearing witch clothes or questioned how she popped literally out of nowhere, and how the boy teleported. But, oh hey look, I told you, she wasn't gonna get with the boy, because another girl helped him with a magical artifact that she got from the shop, which is from a scene I accidentally forgot to show you all. Oopsie! And our first episode ends the same way all great shows' first episodes end, with our main character crying over something petty.
I'm the most misunderstood little girl in the whole world!
So overall, I think that was a good first episode. Nothing too amazing, but it gets the job done to introduce us to the world and characters. I mean, it hooked me long enough that I bought this thing. So clearly, as you can see, I make the best spending decisions. But anyways, let's move on to our next episode. Episode 2 is simultaneously a simpler plot and a more complicated one. What I mean by that is that we're already on the body swap episode. Rayanne's a bit stressed out from her home life, so Dory, in her infinite wisdom, says screw subtlety and agrees to swap places with Rayanne. And Rayanne is perfectly cool with the idea that magic exists, and the fact that this person she's never met just had her swap places with her best friend. I like how they're not trading places to see who has the harder life. They're doing it to give the other a break from their current life, which, I don't know, that feels a nice thing for these two to do. And honestly, when compared to other body swap episodes or just changing places episodes from shows that I do like, I think this one handled it pretty well. Okay, that's one point this show has over the Loud House. But yeah, as one would guess, this episode is also kind of predictable. Basically, they figure out how hard the other has it, or just the way one lives doesn't jive with how the other lives, and they learn to appreciate what they have. Simple, easy, done. But hey, it's a good way to introduce Rayanne into the world of magic, as this will become important in a later episode. Our third and final episode that I'll be talking about today starts off by establishing Dory's incredibly high intelligence level and maturity.
This morning my sister was like, hey, look under there. So I said underwear. And she was like, I just made you say underwear.
But in other equally as important news, we get introduced to... Remember how I said Patina was the best character in the show? Well, this one's my favorite. Mirabelle. Don't think it. Don't say it. Don't think it. Don't say it. This adorable little scamp recently moved here from out in the country, and later in class we see...
Your epidermis is showing. Nice try, but I already heard that one today. Dummy! Wow!
Yep, those two are definitely in love. We see that Mirabelle is a new student. She immediately makes a good first impression with the class when she looks at these three incredibly important characters called the SOS Trio and utterly demolishes them.
First S was for stupid, the O for obnoxious, and the second S for smelly.
And then she just destroys Rayanne for absolutely no reason.
Just saying, you're kind of plain looking. There's like nothing special about you. That's even worse.
God, I love this character. But she's still not Luna Loud. So, Dory decides to follow Mirabelle home to try and blackmail her. And after a bunch of magical shenanigans, she ends up making it to Mirabelle's house. Mirabelle doesn't question why Dory followed her home and instead invites her in. It's here where we meet Mirabelle's father, and I actually really like this scene. You see, we learn that he's a single father taking care of Mirabel. That's why they moved, because the mother caught a bad case of being a horrible person and left them. So he ends up now having to work 2 jobs to take care of them. Mirabel isn't mad about this. I mean, yes, obviously you can see it that she's upset that she doesn't get to spend much time with her father. But rather than doing that, I wish my dad doesn't have to work so much, she actually is appreciative of what he does and instead chooses to value all the time she does have with him. It's honestly beautiful. So naturally, after hearing all of that, Dore decides to, of course, meddle. I will make every Loud House joke. You cannot stop me. So Dore goes and asks Patina for some more spell drops. I forgot to mention, in this show, spell drops are what witches use to make magic. And it's a running gag in this show that spell drops are always expensive and our main characters are always poor, so the money's always coming out of Patina's pocket. We also get to see how much of an instigator Lorelai is.
How do you expect her to get better if she doesn't practice?
I hate it when you make sense.
And so, with the spell drops acquired, Dore makes a clone of Mirabel's dad. Jeez, the last episode had body swapping and this episode has attacked the clones.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
But overall, it didn't even matter because Mirabel's real dad actually ended up showing up to Parents' Day anyways. I find this scene sweet and hilarious. Sweet because it's nice to see that these two really care for each other, and hilarious because it turns out Mirabel's an idiot.
I don't even know what I'm looking at.
No wonder her and Dore ends up getting along so well. But wait! You might all be asking, if that was Mirabel's real father, then what happened to the clone? Well, as it turns out, Dore, once again in her infinite wisdom, forgot to tell the clone where the school was. So he was just wandering around all day. When he finds Dore again in front of Rayanne and Mirabel, So now these two are of course questioning everything, and Rayanne seems to know that Dore might be a witch. And Dore of course is scared that if they say that she's a witch, she'll turn into a green blob like Patina. And the episode ends on that note. Luckily, thanks to the intro, we know that in the next episode, what actually happens. I love it when cartoon intros spoil the plot. But overall, I really like this episode. It's definitely my favorite of the 3. But I also just really like this show. It's nice, it's fun, it's cute, it just puts me in a good mood, and I highly recommend it. I honestly don't know what else to say. I think the dub is nice, albeit cheesy, but hey, like I said before, this show kept my attention long enough for me to buy this thing. I really need to work on my ability to make good investments. Anyways, I'm your average bonehead Jay. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, tip your waitresses, and I wish you all good.
Wait a minute.
A once powerful witch has a curse that limits her magic, lives in a house in the back end of nowhere, owns a shop, has a snarky roommate, is teaching a lovably dumb human girl to be a witch, and the girl has 2 best friends that exceed her magical level, one wearing glasses and the other having clothing in the blue category. Nah, this one doesn't even have a homosexual, a bad but sad boy, or a gift from God that I know of. Anyways, I wish you all good night.